All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to our March CyberSmart Brief session, Social Engineering, Building a Human Firewall. Joining me today on our call is Kyle Harris and TJ Horner, both members of the Aberdeen team. I see a lot of familiar names, but just as a reminder, what is CyberSmart Briefs? It's a monthly short form webinar. The last topic we were talking about was I am going to draw a blank right now. I want to say it was AI. Um, but um, we just want to give quick little webinars about just 5-10 minutes of content. Leave some time for questions on how to be secure in your day-to-day life. We do post these on YouTube. Um, we do want some feedback and input into other security topics, so please feel free to drop into the Q&A more information about any other security topics you want to learn about. And we also will be monitoring Q&A throughout the webinar today, so feel free to use that. You can find it in the top right corner of the Teams window. Messages are posted anonymously as long as you check the box. And again, your suggestions can shape future training topics. The goal of these is to help you become more secure online. So, uh, we've spent a lot of time talking about different security topics, and social engineering is something that we have touched on, but we haven't really spoken about directly. So we just wanted to spend some time kind of explaining what it is and some warning signs. And, humans really are the last line of defense. Social engineering exploits human error and emotions such as money, love, and fear to coerce victims into breaking normal security procedures. You think of IT as being focused on protecting you via firewalls, antivirus, anti-malware, security protocols. However, humans really are the last line of defense. Threat actors are well aware of this and target people more than infrastructure. In fact, experts say that social engineering was the cause of 70 to 90% of all malicious breaches, according to Know Before. Um, and social engineering can come in many different forms. Phishing, which we've spoken about before, baiting, tailgating, pretexting, or quid pro quo. So, phishing, we've spoken about this a few different times, but just as a reminder, it's a digital message or voice messages that try to manipulate recipients into sharing sensitive information, downloading malicious software, transferring money or assets to the wrong people. Threat actors craft phishing messages to look or sound like they come from a trusted or credible organization or individual. Sometimes even an individual the recipient knows personally. And again, it can come in many different forms. Spear phishing that targets an individual, often using information that's found on LinkedIn, Facebook, or other social media, appears to come from somebody that the target knows. This can come from business email compromises, where somebody you work with has had their email compromised and they send you a suspicious message. Voice phishing or vishing is conducted through phone calls, often pretending to be an official representative of a major institution. Like, this is the FBI regarding your relative. They need money to make bail. Or, this is Microsoft. Could you please connect me to your computer? There's also search engine phishing, or sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. There's also SMS phishing or smishing, which is phishing through a text message. I personally get a lot of these in the form of fake USPS tracking texts or just general service texts I wasn't expecting. Like, on the right side is a prime example of one of those fake USPS texts. There's also search engine phishing where um, threat actors create a malicious website similar to existing ones and use search engine optimization so that they rank higher on results for popular search terms. And then, when you go to their website, click on links and stuff, they're able to install malicious software onto your computer through that. Angler phishing is something that's arisen in more recent years where social media accounts masquerade as official accounts of famous people or companies to try and trick users into providing information to them. So, again, phishing is something that we've spoken on a couple of times, and it's something that's still very prevalent. We just want to define a couple more ways that it can be used. Baiting is another way threat actors use social engineering against us. So, baiting is a commonly used tactic. It lures victims into giving up sensitive information or installing malicious software by tempting them with a valuable offer or object. The best example of these is those old Nigerian prince scams where somebody would email you saying they're a Nigerian prince royal, or their fortune was hostage of war or corruption. They would only need your bank account number to transfer money or a small advance payment for taxes. In actuality, they would use this information to drain your bank account or string you along to keep paying fees so that you could get your millions of dollars that the Nigerian prince promised you. Other examples of this included infected software downloads, like illegal copies of software. Photoshop's a really common version of that, or another classic case, LimeWire, where people were installing a free music player and free games, but essentially they were also downloading a bunch of viruses and malware with that. Free games can also sometimes come with malicious packages, especially when downloaded from an untrusted source. And threat actors might also leave USB drives with malware where people will find them. Oftentimes, people just plug it into their computer without thinking, trying to see what's on there, but they could have a malicious payload on that USB. So, warning signs for this are obviously messages from untrusted entities, as well as offers that seem way too good to be true, like somebody offering you millions of dollars. Or piggybacking is exactly what it sounds like. An unauthorized person follows you to gain access into secure areas. Although it's not common, they might do this to workstations left unlocked as well. This is something that we actually do inside the office at Aberdeen, where if somebody leaves their computer unlocked, somebody might pop in and leave a nice little Teams message offering to buy everyone lunch or something, just as a reminder, hey, when you're done with your work, you lock your computer and walk away. You don't leave it open just in case, somebody has that unauthorized access into your office space. Um, we obviously have policies for automatic locking in place. However, just having that behavior in place of locking your computer when you walk away. Warning signs of tailgating would be an unknown user person following close behind you, or an unknown person in secure area. You can always ask the purpose of what they're doing there. If it's not somebody you can just say, "Hey, do you have permission to be here? What are you doing here?" And then, as best practice, again, just lock your computer when you step away. Pretexting is actually something that's used in almost every social engineering attack. A threat actor will create a fake situation for the victim and poses the right person to resolve it. Often they say like, "Hey, I'm reaching out from Microsoft. You've been involved in a security breach, or your name has been implicated in X crime. Send me X amount of money, and we'll get your name cleared of this." They offer to fix things if the victim will provide important account information or work with the victim to install malicious software onto their computer. Them reaching out directly to you without any sort of, pretext or anything in there where there's just no reason for you to be contacted by that is a warning sign. Quid pro quos are something that used to be a little bit more common, but definitely dwindling with the way people being wary of them. However, attacks from these do still happen. Threat actors offer a desirable good or service in exchange for sensitive information, emailing you regarding a contest you won that you don't remember, or loyalty rewards from a restaurant that you don't go to. A great example of this is that classic pop up from the mid to late 2000s. That congratulations, you've won a free iPod Nano, or congratulations, you're our 100,000th visitor. They're usually flashy to try and grab your attention, and they want your bank account information to send you your winnings. So that should be your red sign. Obviously, you don't give your bank account up to these people. So what is done with my information once they have it? Well, threat actors can use it in a number of different ways provide or based on the information provided. Obviously, if you give them enough information, they'll steal your identity. If they have things like your bank account, your social security number. If given access to your computer, they can install malicious software like keyloggers or malware, other viruses, where they're able to log your passwords with those keyloggers, where they can see exactly what you're typing in. And lastly, obviously, if you give them your password, they'll compromise your account and possibly use it for sending phishing from your email to others to try and spread their web of infection further. So, there are really big warning signs that you should always be on the lookout for. Most or all of these messages are sent without asking or are unwarranted. If you get an email asking you to take action right away, that should be your red flag. These messages will contain suspicious links, come from an unknown person or user, come from a spoofed domain such as aberdeenit.com instead of aberdeen.com. These messages also contain spelling or grammatical errors. So, how to protect yourself is analyze the grading. You know, if there's a message, analyze the grading. Is it directed to you, or is it more of a general sir, ma'am, or even a dear trusted user? Look but don't click. Remember you can hover your mouse over to links in emails to see where they link to. Check for spelling errors or grammatical errors. Does it look like it was written by a professional? Don't give your information up. If somebody you don't know is asking about your first pet's name or what street you grew up on, that should be a huge red flag. They can actually use that information to get past those security questions that you set up a lot of times. And of course, if you see somebody suspicious lurking around the office, check who they are. Don't hold the door open for them into a secure area. Verify they should actually have access to that area. That's actually something that Department of Defense standardizes on is you don't hold doors open for people, you make sure that they actually have the ability to open the door for themselves. So we have a couple of helpful articles in here, which I believe TJ is posting into the Q&A and chat for people. So the first one is actually an article from IBM, just again, what is social engineering? They actually talk about a couple of other types of social engineering that we didn't have time to cover today in this article. Um, AARP's article about what to know about Nigerian prince scams is another one. Super, super helpful read for, maybe people with um, older American parents or, just people who may not have been around the internet for those days. Definitely something to read up on. And then the last one is actually from Kevin Mitnick Security, The History of Social Engineering, which kind of talks about the previous days of social engineering and sort of where it is today. And as a reminder, we spoke on this last time, but always use Have I Been Pwned. Check your personal emails, see what breaches it's been involved in recently, and um, it's just a good reminder. But that's it for the presentation. We have some time for Q&A. So TJ, Kyle, the floor is yours.